When the world finally quiets, when the last notification blinks and the room cools into a softer shade, can you still hear yourself? Or has the day scattered your attention so widely that your inner voice sounds far away? Tonight, we return to that voice. Not to impress it with intensity, not to force it with effort, but to welcome it with dignity. There is a light inside you that does not shout. It does not advertise. It does not bargain. It searches the inward parts and waits for you to notice. Many have called that light intuition. Some have called it the lamp of the spirit. Others, the awakening of a center buried deep within. Whatever name you have used, you know the feeling. The clean click of rightness, the quiet resolve that needs no applause, the gentle certainty that steadies your hands and softens your face. Perhaps you have tried to reach that place through more stimulation, more information, more intensity, only to find exhaustion where you expected revelation. The scroll was long, the promises were loud, the results were thin. If that is your story, you are not alone. You are not late. You are not broken. What you are is overfed on noise and undernourished in stillness, pulled by a culture that confuses spectacle with wisdom and heat with light. What you are is human, beautifully designed to perceive truth when the way is uncluttered, the heart is clean, and the mind is given room to breathe. In this space, no one will scold you for being tired. No one will shame you for feeling unsure. This is a sanctuary for honest people who want clear eyes and a clean heart, who want a faith that is sturdy enough for Mondays and tender enough for midnight. The path here is not about chasing electric experiences or collecting mystical badges. It's about becoming the kind of person whose perception grows accurate because the inner life grows ordered by wisdom, guarded by integrity, energized by joy, and tested by the kind of truth that holds up under the weight of real life. Many speak of activating the pineal gland as if it were a switch to be flipped with secret techniques. Tonight, we take another way. Not the way of more, but the way of less. Less soot on the lamp, less clutter at the gate, less strain in the eyes. Inner sight sharpens when the lens is clean, the oil is fresh, and the house is in order. Not because we forced something supernatural to happen, but because we removed the interference that kept us from noticing what was already whispering. Not because we chased brightness, but because we honored alignment. Not because we escaped the body, but because we listened to it with reverence. Solomon's wisdom is our compass, ancient words that do not age, pointing us toward practices that turn noise into signal. He taught that discernment is not a performance. It is a posture. He taught that integrity does not mute spiritual life, it tunes it. He taught that rhythms are not cages, they are channels. When your life is arranged with wisdom, when your attention is guarded and your motives are examined, the inner light does what light always does. It reveals, it clarifies, it guides. We will also honor what emotional neuroscience has learned about your beautifully complex system. Attention stabilizes when breath steadies and posture lengthens. The body's alarm quiets when you feel safe on purpose. The mind's prefrontal networks gain precision when the nervous system is less flooded. Gentle morning light can nudge your internal clock toward clarity. Evening practices can signal the body that it is time to shift from vigilance to restoration. None of this replaces spiritual life. It supports it. The heart and the brain are not enemies. Devotion and biology are not rivals. When you respect both, you suffer less friction and guidance becomes easier to hear. What follows is a path that is simple enough to begin tonight and strong enough to carry you through seasons. You will not be told to abandon your responsibilities or pretend away your grief. You will be invited to carry your life with cleaner hands. You will be given practices that are small and sustainable, because small and sustainable is how transformations stay. Expect clarity that grows by subtraction. Expect peace that grows by practice. Expect a truer confidence, the kind built not on hype but on alignment. A brief word of care as we begin. What you hear in this episode is spiritual education, not medical advice, and you are always the steward of your well-being. Take what serves your conscience and context. Adapt gently. Move at a pace that honors your body's signals and your life's commitments. In 5 movements, we will trim the lamp so the flame can breathe. We will keep the gate so inputs become allies, not thieves. We will replenish the oil so joy and order can carry the weight of perception. We will learn to distinguish the 2 voices that compete at the door of every decision, and we will build an inner architecture that can host the very presence we long for. Lamp, gate, oil, voices, temple, not as slogans to recite, but as a way to live, not as a sprint, but as a rhythm, not as a secret, but as a stewardship. As you listen, let your shoulders soften, let your jaw unclench. Place your feet on the ground and give your weight to the chair. You do not have to chase anything here. You do not have to prove anything here. You only have to be here. Let the breath slow a little. Let the eyes rest on a gentle point. Let the heart admit what it wants. A life that is clear, honest, and guided. The light you seek is not far. It is simply covered. Together we will remove what covers it. Together we will make room. Together, we will begin. Some nights begin with a hush that feels like truth stepping closer. In that hush, a question rises from someplace honest. Is the light inside me clear enough to see what is real? Many have chased brightness through noise and tricks, as if wisdom were a firework that must explode to be believed. Yet the clearer light does not dazzle, it reveals. It moves like water over stone and shows what was always there. There is a saying from the old paths that steadies the heart. The spirit of a person is the lamp of the Lord, searching the inward parts. A lamp does not earn its light. It makes space for it. The work is less about adding flame and more about removing what dims it. The pain that often sits behind the eyes is not a lack of hunger for truth. It is a life smudged by too much noise and not enough clarity. The body feels it before the mind admits it. Tension in the shoulders, a knot in the stomach, sleep that should refresh but does not. The heart longs for a signal that cuts through the static. It longs for the quiet click of alignment. When that alignment appears, it feels simple and strong. It does not need applause. It needs room. The good news is that nothing essential is missing. The path back is a path of subtraction. Much of the world treats spiritual life like a show. Louder music, brighter lights, stranger claims. The performance can stir emotion, yet leave the lamp untrimmed. Wisdom does another thing. It favors the art of discernment over the thrill of display. It trusts the clean line over the busy pattern. It asks whether the light is bright because the wick is healthy or only because the room is dark. This shift changes everything. When discernment becomes the measure, superstition loses its spell. The heart stops inventing meaning and begins perceiving it. Decisions grow cleaner. Regret loosens its grip. The body and the nervous system know this way. When breath slows without strain, the alarm in the chest settles. When attention rests on one gentle focus, the mind's higher centers re-engage. Insight does not have to fight to be heard. It finds space. Emotional memory sifts itself, and the day's moments begin to arrange into a pattern that makes sense. What felt loud now becomes legible. The inner lamp is not a metaphor alone. It is a felt experience of steadiness that shows up in the jaw unclenching, in the voice lowering, in the eyes softening toward what is true. There is an evening rhythm that many find faithful and kind. It is called the lamp check. It takes about 10 minutes. It begins with quiet breathing that meets the body where it is. No forcing, no straining, just the gentle cadence that tells the nervous system it is safe to tell the truth. Then a journal opens to a single question. What did my inner lamp reveal about today's motives, fears, and choices? Writing moves the truth from fog into form. The page does not judge, it witnesses. What looked like confusion becomes a map. What felt like failure becomes feedback. The point is not to perform a ritual. The point is to clear the lens. Sometimes the mind resists this simplicity. It assumes that wisdom must be complex to be valuable. Yet a lamp becomes brighter not by demanding more fuel, but by clearing the soot that coats the glass. Small obstructions make large differences, a half step toward honesty, a half step away from noise. Over time, these half steps become a path that can hold your weight. The eyes adjust. The room within feels less crowded. The voice that once sounded far away grows familiar, like a friend who sits with you in the quiet and has no need to impress. This way of seeing has a moral center. It is not a trick to gain special powers. It is a posture that chooses integrity, because integrity clears perception. When motives are examined with tenderness and truth, the heart does not have to distort reality to protect itself. When fear is named, it loses the right to dress up as intuition. When choices are viewed in the light of their fruit, future days are spared from avoidable pain. The lamp inside is not a toy, it is a trust. It is given for guidance that blesses more than the self. There is a tenderness to this work that matters. Shame clouds the glass. Harshness scratches it. Rushing overheats the wick. So the practice favors gentleness without drifting into passivity. It favors honesty without becoming harsh. It favors rhythm without turning rigid. This tenderness is not weakness. It is wisdom's way of keeping the heart open enough to learn while sturdy enough to stand. It lets you feel what you feel and still choose what leads to life. Along this path, clarity rises, superstition fades. The mind stops trying to force meaning out of signs that were never speaking to it. The heart stops outsourcing guidance to spectacle. Decisions begin to carry the weight of peace. Regret shows up less often because each choice has been searched by a lamp that does not lie. You find yourself spending less energy on fixing mistakes and more energy on building a life that fits the truth you now trust. If you listen closely, you may notice a growing steadiness. The face relaxes, the breath lengthens. The day feels held rather than scattered. The inner lamp has not become dramatic. It has become dependable. You are not running after flashes in the sky. You are walking by a light that stays with you. This is the gift of discernment over spectacle. It is not glamorous. It is durable. It is quiet and strong and deeply human. The chapter closes with a simple remembrance. A lamp is most itself when it reveals. It reveals what needs forgiveness. It reveals what deserves gratitude. It reveals the next faithful step and asks for nothing but honesty. The spirit of a person is the lamp of the Lord. When the lamp is trimmed and the glass is clear, you do not have to hunt for guidance in far places. Clarity shines on the table that is already in front of you, and the night, which once felt heavy, becomes a sanctuary where true sight is born. The day can feel like a crowded market that never closes, every voice tugging at your sleeve, every screen asking for one more glance, every sound laying claim to a little piece of your attention. After hours of this, the inner room feels hazy. Not because you do not care about truth, but because your senses have been smudged by constant contact. The body keeps the score in its own quiet ways. A heaviness behind the eyes, a restlessness that does not settle, the mind trying to think straight while the heart is still vibrating from the last wave of noise. What some name purity is often misunderstood as rigid or joyless, yet here, purity begins to look like precision, like a lens polished until the picture sharpens on its own. This is not about shrinking life or fearing the world. It is about choosing inputs that serve your sight, the way a craftsman keeps a workbench clear so the work can breathe. When the field of attention is cared for, the signal strengthens without drama. The light in you does not need spectacle. It needs space. Ancient wisdom speaks with a voice that has not aged. Guard the center of your life, because from that center, your days take their shape. Guard does not mean clenched fists. It means watchfulness with love. It means knowing which doors to keep open and which to close at certain hours. What enters the heart will eventually leave as thoughts and words and choices. So the threshold matters. The gate is not a prison. The gate is care. Every input touches the nervous system before it becomes a story. The eyes receive light, and the autonomic tides respond. The ears catch tone, and the body believes it is safe or not safe. The fingertips trail across glass, and the reward systems stir. Over time, these micro-contacts write a mood. They lend their color to the day. Precision here is not perfectionism. It is tenderness for the instrument that carries your soul. When the instrument is tuned, the song can be heard. Many have found that the first light of morning carries a kindness that screens cannot give. A window opens, the face warms, the body drinks clear water and remembers simple rhythms. Without commands or pressure, the system begins to trust the day. The inner weather steadies. The mind grows less hungry for rapid novelty because it has already tasted something whole. A small choice like this is not small at all. It sets the tone for listening. Throughout the day, a small set of life-giving inputs can serve as companions. A page that deepens character rather than inflames opinion. A conversation that builds rather than scatters. A soundscape that calms the breath instead of spiking it. None of this requires withdrawal from the world. It is a discernment of diet. Just as the body notices when food is clean, the mind notices when content is clean. Over time, the appetite changes. Junk loses its shine. Substance begins to satisfy. There is also the courage to release a single numbing input that works like fog inside the chest. It might be a feed that hooks attention through outrage. It might be a late-night habit that feeds the body with empty light. Letting even one such stream go can feel like a window thrown open. The air moves, the room clears. What once felt necessary reveals itself as noise. In the quiet that follows, the nervous system finally hears itself exhale. The image that guides this way is a gate at the edge of a temple. A keeper walks the perimeter with a calm face. Not suspicious, not naive, simply awake. When a storm gathers, the keeper closes what must be closed. When the sun returns, the keeper opens what must be opened. Inside, the sanctuary stays luminous. The sacred fires do not flicker with every wind. This is the dignity of boundaries. This is the peace of a kept gate. Clarity grows when patterns are noticed with kindness. Some mark the passing days with a few words at dusk. Mood brighter, focus steady, guidance clear. Other days read differently. Mood gray, focus thin, guidance distant. There is no punishment in these notes, only learning. Over weeks, the line of a story appears. Certain inputs correlate with quiet strength. Others correlate with mental fog. Awareness begins to make its own choices because it has tasted the difference. The sciences that study attention and emotion offer gentle confirmation. Morning light can nudge the inner clock towards steadiness. Clear hydration can lift the body's ability to think and feel with accuracy. Less frantic novelty lowers the chase for quick rewards and raises the quality of sustained focus. The mind's higher functions flourish when the alarm inside the body is not constantly triggered. In that calmer field, the delicate signal of conscience and insight becomes audible again. This is not a moral scoreboard that divides the world into clean and unclean. It is a craft, the craft of building a life where what enters you has room to become wisdom rather than waste. Some inputs will remain necessary even if they are noisy. Work demands, family needs. The gate welcomes them with open eyes and a steady hand. Other inputs will reveal themselves as thieves in daylight. The gate learns their faces and keeps them at the edge. As the weeks gather, you may sense a quieter center. The mind starts a task and finishes it. The heart listens before it reacts. The body moves through rooms without a hidden flinch. A softer awareness travels with you, not fragile, but grounded. When guidance comes, it does not have to shout over a crowded room. It arrives like someone trusted, walking through a door that has been kept clear for them. This is what purity becomes in the world of real days. Precision that protects perception. Care that keeps the inner lamp from smoke and the inner air from dust. The gate has done its work, not by force, but by faithful attention to what enters and what remains. In that carefulness, the sanctuary within grows bright, and in that brightness, the next right step can finally be seen. There are seasons when the soul feels dry, as if the inner lamp still burns, but the flame flickers against a thin wind. The day has asked for more than the body could give, and the mind has carried questions it could not answer. In such moments, the heart does not need more noise or brighter spectacle. It needs oil, not the oil of frantic effort, the oil of simple goodness that returns the system to grace, the oil of rhythm that steadies the pulse and brings the scattered pieces of attention back into one gentle place. Joy and order sharpen perception more than intensity ever can. This truth may sound small in a culture that worships the dramatic, yet the nervous system knows it by feel. When life moves in a humane cadence, when the hours have their simple anchors, when small delights are honored rather than postponed, sight clears. Not because the light has grown louder, but because the lens is less strained. Intensity can be impressive, but it is often unsustainable. Rhythm does quieter work. It restores the lamp to its purpose. Ancient wisdom offers an image of continual freshness. Let your garments be always white, and let not oil be lacking on your head. It is the picture of a life that refuses stale resignation. It chooses clarity and celebration as the atmosphere of the soul. White garments speak of clean motives and unburdened conscience. Oil speaks of gladness, of consecration, of a steady supply for the flame. This is not a costume worn for others. It is an inward condition that keeps perception bright. The sciences that listen to the body support this old insight. Predictable rhythms reduce the background alarm and allow higher thinking to breathe. Gentle practices in the evening invite the nervous system to shift from vigilance into restoration. Gratitude lifts attention from scanning for threat into noticing sufficiency. Repairing relationships calms the heart's readiness to defend. Reviewing choices strengthens learning networks and clears cognitive fog. Setting a simple intention quiets decision fatigue before sleep. None of this competes with spiritual life. It carries it. Fresh oil changes the texture of experience. Dryness breeds brittle thinking, arguments with oneself, and a tendency to fixate on what is missing. Oil softens the inner gears. The shoulders drop. The voice warms. Thoughts stop grinding and begin to glide. Perception becomes less hungry and more accurate. Guidance feels less like a riddle and more like a path you already know how to walk. This is not fantasy. It is the natural result of tending the conditions that let wisdom rise. Many souls have discovered a kind evening rhythm that honors this way. It is called the evening anointing. It is not a spectacle. It is not severe. It is a small window where the day is gathered with reverence. First comes gratitude, spoken in ordinary words that name what was given. A clean glass of water, a kind glance from a stranger, a problem that eased. Gratitude does not deny pain. It adds weight to what is good so the scale can balance. Over time, it trains attention to locate truth that frantic minds overlook. Then comes reconciliation, sometimes with others, sometimes within. A quiet willingness to release the day from the grip of bitterness, to admit where pride spoke too quickly, to let mercy breathe through places that feel tight. The body hears this and loosens. The heart hears this and lowers its shield. Forgiveness does not erase memory. It cleans the lens so memory can heal. The night welcomes a soul that is not at war with itself. Next comes a simple review of one choice, not a tribunal, not a spiral into shame. One choice held up to the light, like a small object in the palm. What motive moved it? What fear disguised itself as wisdom? What outcome followed and what it reveals? The mind learns fastest when the lesson is brief and kind. This moment of honest seeing converts experience into understanding. Tomorrow's path begins to form in today's clarity. Finally, a single intention is named for the coming day. Not a harsh demand, not an ambitious list. One direction that aligns with conscience and calling. The nervous system loves this. It settles, it trusts. Sleep receives a simple task to hold while the body repairs and the brain consolidates. In the morning, a subtle readiness greets the first light because the heart already knows where it is going. The effect of this rhythm accumulates. Clarity becomes less of a rare event and more of a daily atmosphere. Crashes grow fewer because energy is spent with wisdom, not wasted on constant recovery. Intuition grows steadier because emotion is no longer left to flood and recede without care. The mind holds focus with less effort. The heart listens with more courage. The body moves through the hours with a sense of belonging to the day. There is a quiet happiness in this way that does not need applause. It is the happiness of sufficiency. Enough light for the next step, enough strength for the next conversation, enough peace to choose the slower truth over the faster thrill. Joy here is not the jittery high that fades with the noise. It is the deep current that keeps the flame from sputtering when the wind shifts. It is the oil that turns friction into flow. Fresh oil means vision does not strain, it flows. It means the soul rises to meet life without the constant ache of scarcity. It means discernment has the time and space to do its good work. It means that what you carry into the world is not smoke but light. In this atmosphere, wisdom becomes recognizable. Guidance is not chased, it arrives. And the lamp, tended with rhythm and joy, reveals a path that feels both ancient and beautifully new. There is a moment before every meaningful choice when the room quiets inside. And even if the outside world keeps moving, something in you pauses at a threshold. Two invitations arrive almost together. Both feel urgent. Both promise ease. Both sound familiar, as if you have heard them your whole life. One is bright and quick and eager for applause. The other is steady and almost shy, as if confident without needing attention. The difference between them is not volume. The difference is destination. Folly always offers a shortcut. It flatters the sore places and tells them they will heal faster if you hurry. It feeds the hunger for relief without asking whether the relief will last. It is loud enough to drown the whisper that asks for patience. It is quick enough to outrun the question of consequence. Its music is catchy, and for a little while the beat feels like freedom. Then the bill arrives. The price is usually paid in the quiet hours no one sees. Restlessness, complication, a sense of being scattered in pieces that do not fit. Wisdom never bargains. It does not lean on urgency. It has a slow confidence, a clean line, and a way of making the heart feel both tender and strong at the same time. It does not promise that you will avoid discomfort. It promises that truth will not betray you. It does not rush you to decide. It invites you to see more clearly. When you move with it, the body recognizes the feeling. The shoulders soften. The breath lengthens. The eyes stop scanning for escape and start looking for alignment. Ancient teaching paints these two invitations as hosts calling from separate houses. Both prepare a table. Both call to passers-by. One serves sweetness that turns bitter in the mouth. The other serves nourishment that asks for attention but gives life. The contrast is not abstract. It is lived at the table of ordinary days. How you spend your energy, how you speak when you are tired, how you hold power when it is in your hand, how you treat the small promises you make when no one is watching. The body often knows the difference before the mind finds words. Impulse carries a buzzing edge, a heat behind the eyes, a sense that if you do not act immediately, you will lose something essential. Guidance carries a quieter electricity that does not spike. It steadies. The nervous system is a faithful reporter. When threat circuits flare, perception narrows, and long-range seeing collapses into a tunnel. When safety returns, the wider view comes back, and you can feel the future again. What feels like a moral struggle is often also a physiological moment. The heart rate, the breath, the posture, the light in the room, all of it participates in the shaping of choice. Clarity grows when you trace a line from this moment to its likely end. Every decision has a trajectory, a path it prefers to follow. If you imagine the choice as a seed, what kind of tree does it want to become? Does it lead toward more peace or toward more complication? Does it gather you or scatter you? The mind does not need perfect foresight to sense direction. It needs a softened body and an honest question. When the line forward is imagined with care, the voice of folly loses some of its shine because it cannot hide its destination. Character is the second lamp that tests a choice. What will this cost in the currency of the person you are becoming? Will it extract patience or add it? Will it tax integrity or strengthen it? Will it require you to be smaller than your calling or larger than your fear? Wisdom does not accept a gain that empties the inner account. It would rather wait than win the wrong way. When seen in this light, many temptations dissolve because they are revealed as trades you cannot afford. The heart feels the weight, and the soul says no without anger. The third witness is fruit that lasts. Imagine giving this decision as counsel to someone you deeply love. Would you be at peace if they followed it? Would you trust the outcomes that tend to follow it? Folly often looks harmless when viewed from inside your own hunger. It looks different when placed in the hands of someone innocent. This perspective removes the fog. It returns right and wrong to their true sizes. It calls the soul back to the kind of love that protects and builds. Where love cannot bless the path, wisdom will not walk it. These three lamps are not rules carved in stone. They are ways of seeing that honor the whole of you. They welcome discernment that includes the mind and the body and the conscience. They give you time to breathe and room to tell the truth. They do not shame the part of you that longs for comfort. They ask that comfort be aligned with peace. When these questions are held with tenderness, decisions that once felt tangled begin to reveal their threads. The hand rises from the knot and chooses with a cleaner heart. There is a reason the foolish voice prefers hurry. Haste keeps you from hearing the quiet evidence that would rescue you. Haste keeps you from the small signals that your nervous system is sending. Dry mouth, tight jaw, shallow breath, rapid words. The body saying, this is not the way. When the pace slows, the signal grows audible. The prefrontal wisdom of the mind wakes up and begins to weigh rather than react. The soul becomes free again to prefer the true good over the quick fix. Integrity becomes a tuning fork for perception. It rings when a path is aligned and falls silent when a path is false. The more you honor that resonance, the more accurate your inner hearing becomes. Not because you have mastered a technique, but because you have refused to distort what the lamp reveals. Over time, this fidelity builds a quiet authority. You no longer need to defend your choices with volume. They defend themselves with fruit. Picture two banquets set out in the same city. The first is loud and glittering. Guests arrive hungry and leave hollow, tasting sweetness that does not stay. The second is quiet and generous. Guests arrive weary and leave nourished, carrying a peace that lingers. This is not about avoiding beauty or pleasure. It is about knowing the difference between a meal and a mirage. Wisdom teaches the palate to tell them apart. Once the palate learns, deception becomes less persuasive. This chapter is not about fearing mistakes. It is about trusting the slow clarity that keeps you from worshipping them. When a misstep happens, shame tries to seize the microphone and declare a verdict. Wisdom takes the microphone back and turns the moment into learning. The lamp searches the inward parts. It does not accuse to destroy. It reveals to heal. What was hidden becomes visible. What was confusing becomes honest. The next step becomes kinder and more accurate. The gift of this way is a life that no longer needs spectacle to feel guided. You beg less for signs because truth has become familiar. You waste less on repairs because choices are made in daylight. You stop baptizing impulse as intuition. You stop calling adrenaline faith. The energy saved by this honesty returns to you as steadiness. And in that steadiness, guidance is not chased. It arrives like a trusted friend coming to the door you kept clear for them. In time, these quiet victories gather. Trust in your own listening grows. Peace begins to arrive earlier in the process rather than after the fire. The face softens before words are spoken. The gaze lifts and sees farther than the immediate thrill. This is wisdom in real time, not a performance, not a secret trick, a way of living with an inner ear that has learned the sound of the true voice. And at the door, where invitations still arrive, the soul smiles with recognition and chooses the table that nourishes the life it longs to live. There is a difference between a flash of insight and a home for wisdom. A flash is beautiful and brief, like lightning shaping the night for a heartbeat. A home is steady. It receives the weather without losing its shape. Many have tasted moments of luminous clarity that left no trace by morning. Not because the vision was false, but because there was nowhere for it to live. What the heart is asking for is not only revelation, it is architecture, a way of arranging the inner life so that what is holy can remain. Ancient wisdom speaks of a house raised by guidance rather than noise. By wisdom, a house is built. By understanding, it is established. By knowledge, the rooms are filled. The picture is tender and exact. Beams that align. Foundations that do not rush the settling. Rooms prepared with objects that bless daily life. This is not a museum for spiritual ideas. It is a home you can walk through with bare feet. A place where the soul is not a guest, but a resident. The ache behind much spiritual fatigue comes from this missing structure. The heart gathers powerful experiences, yet the days have no rhythm to hold them, and so they leak. Peace appears like a visitor and leaves like one. When structure arrives, peace learns the address. Then guidance ceases to be an event and becomes a climate. Insights turn into choices. Choices repeat until they become character. Character quietly changes destiny. Emotional neuroscience gives language to what the sages knew. Repeated patterns carve paths in the brain. Attention loves familiar routes. The nervous system relaxes when it recognizes a shape it trusts. A small set of steady practices creates a scaffolding inside you, not a cage, a trellis. Vines do not grow by willpower alone. They grow because there is something to climb. In the presence of that trellis, energy that once fed constant decision-making is freed to nourish presence, creativity, and love. Many have found a simple framework that turns revelation into a way of living. They call it the 3 pillars. One pillar honors wisdom in a gentle weekly rhythm. A quiet hour with a single proverb or a brief passage that holds the weight of years, not to collect verses, to receive one clear principle that can breathe in real life. In that hour, the mind slows to the speed of truth. The heart listens for the line that glows. The body learns the feel of unhurried understanding. This is study as fellowship rather than performance. Another pillar gives understanding a daily place at the table. The principle received is carried into an ordinary behavior, simple enough to repeat and clear enough to notice. The hand opens when it would have closed. The mouth softens when it would have sharpened. The calendar protects a pocket of silence that nourishes the whole day. The point is not to chase perfection. It is to let the smallest faithful act become a doorway that light can use. Neural pathways thicken here. The soul learns that truth belongs in the body, not only in the mind. A final pillar welcomes knowledge through regular reflection. Once each week, the story is gathered with kindness. What changed? What resisted? What surprised? What bore fruit that tasted real? The page becomes a mirror that does not flatter and does not shame. Patterns step forward and speak. The practice is refined without drama. What is heavy is laid down. What is life-giving is strengthened. In time, this quiet review builds a memory of faithfulness that steadies the future before it arrives. When these pillars stand together, the house breathes. Wisdom reveals a principle that feels like good timber in your hands. Understanding fits that timber into the frame of a day until it can carry weight. Knowledge walks through the rooms and notices what needs light, what needs repair, what needs to be celebrated. The process is slow on purpose, slow enough for the soul to cooperate, slow enough for the nervous system to trust the change and stop bracing for threats that never come. The effect is not flashy and it is not small. Insights turn into habits without the usual crash of effort. Peace shifts from a moment into a place. You find yourself returning to it like a room with soft chairs and clean windows, a room that holds you when the weather turns. Decisions are made from this room rather than from corridors of panic. Relationships are tended from this room rather than from corners of pride. Work rises from this room and carries a different fragrance into the world. There is a beauty in precise care. The temple image carries measurements for a reason, not to make life rigid, but to make beauty repeatable. In the same way, personal structure does not crush the spirit. It allows radiance to land. It welcomes presence to dwell. A morning touchstone that anchors the day. An evening window that gathers the story. A weekly conversation with wisdom that keeps the compass true. The heart stops living from emergency to emergency and begins to live from design. Many discover that people around them can feel the shift before they can name it. Voices soften in your presence. Rooms calm when you enter, not because you are performing serenity, but because order has settled in your inner house, and others can rest in its gravity. You become the kind of person whose quiet helps the fearful breathe, and whose steadiness invites the frantic to sit down. This is not a role to carry as a burden. It is simply what happens when a life hosts peace rather than chasing it. Over time, the rooms of this inner temple fill, not with clutter, with substance. Gratitude on the table like daily bread, forgiveness folded and ready like linen, courage beside the door where shoes are kept, joy in a bowl within reach. None of these are special effects. They are the furnishings of a soul arranged by wisdom. They make hospitality possible, first to your own heart and then to every life you touch. The invitation of this chapter rests in a single truth, spoken with quiet strength. When the inner life has a structure that can hold presence, guidance becomes easier to recognize and easier to keep. The lamp does not sputter. The gate does not squeal on its hinges. The oil does not run dry. The two voices at the door are heard for what they are. And within the house that wisdom built, peace becomes a dwelling rather than a visit, a way of being rather than a passing mood, a home where what is holy feels welcome to stay. A single image holds the whole journey. A lamp inside you searches quietly for what is true. A gate around you keeps the air clear so the light can travel. Oil within you gives the flame a steady life. Two voices at the threshold ask for your attention, and you learn their sound by the peace that follows. A house rises in you where wisdom can stay. When these movements meet, guidance stops feeling rare and begins to feel natural. The lamp is where perception begins. It does not shout, it reveals. When the glass is clean, you notice motives as they awaken, and you see fears without letting them drive the day. The lamp is honest and kind. It does not flatter and it does not condemn. Its gift is accuracy. This accuracy is not hard. It is clean. It lets you meet reality without bracing and greet your own heart without disguise. The gate protects this accuracy. It chooses what may enter the field of attention and what must remain at the edge. This is not withdrawal. It is care. The nervous system thanks you with steadier breath and a mind that no longer chases sparks. With fewer intrusions, the lamp does not have to fight for space. Discernment becomes possible in real time because the inner room is not crowded. Oil sustains what the lamp and the gate have begun. Rhythm keeps the flame from sputtering. Joy softens the machinery of thought and feeling until they move with less friction. In this gentler atmosphere, even difficult truths become workable. The body receives rest. The mind receives order, the heart receives courage. Guidance does not need to arrive as a dramatic sign. It shows itself in the ease with which you recognize the next faithful step. At the door to each decision, the two voices continue their call. One urges haste and flatters the ache for relief. The other stands with quiet patience and points toward peace that lasts. Because the lamp is clear and the gate is kept and the oil is fresh, the difference between them is easier to feel. You notice the origin of each invitation by the temperature it leaves in the body and the future it imagines. You are no longer at the mercy of impulse dressed up as insight. Structure gives all of this a home. Without a house, the wind returns and carries away what you gained. With a house, small acts turn into habits, and habits turn into character. The rooms of this inner temple are not rigid. They are welcoming. They hold a weekly space for wisdom to speak. They offer a daily place for understanding to live in simple actions. They make time for knowledge to gather the story and refine the journey with tenderness. The pieces do not compete, they cooperate. The lamp names what is true. The gate preserves the conditions for seeing. The oil keeps perception from drying out. The two voices are tested by the fruit they tend to grow. The house receives the life that emerges and keeps it. This is not a collection of techniques. It is a way of being in which your whole system aligns around clarity and love. As these movements settle, consequences appear that are quiet and strong. Choices carry less regret. Relationships breathe more easily. Work is guided by conscience rather than by panic or vanity. You find yourself less fascinated by spectacle and more interested in what nourishes. The soul becomes a place others recognize as safe. The eyes carry light that does not glare. The presence you bring to a room becomes a gift without performance. This integration also honors the body with deep respect. Breath, posture, light, sound, touch, each plays a part in the music of attention. When the environment is arranged with kindness, the brain rests from its constant alarms, and the heart regains its long view. The spiritual life and the nervous system are seen as partners. One steadies the other, one deepens the other. In their partnership, guidance arrives with less effort and stays with more ease. What began as scattered practices becomes a single path. You do not need to strain for certainty. You cultivate conditions where certainty grows. You do not chase rare experiences. You keep the flame that turns experience into wisdom. The result is a life that feels inhabited from the inside, aligned with truth and available to love. Lamp, gate, oil, voices, temple. 5 names that describe one home. A home where peace lasts, a home where the holy feels welcome to remain. There is a simple way to gather everything into a week that remembers. It is not heavy, it is not loud, it is a gentle frame where small actions keep the inner room bright and clear. Each piece already lives in you from this journey. Here they simply take their places beside one another so peace can stay. Each night welcomes the lamp check, 10 quiet minutes. Breath that settles without strain. A page that receives what the day revealed. The question is simple and honest. What did my inner lamp reveal about today's motives, fears, and choices? The page becomes a witness rather than a judge. Truth finds shape. The flame steadies for sleep. Across the week there is a gate audit. Morning light meets clear water before any screen. The day tastes clean before novelty arrives. A few life-giving inputs are kept close. A reading that nourishes character. A voice that builds rather than scatters. A sound that calms rather than spikes. One numbing stream is released and the room inside grows lighter. By dusk, brief notes capture mood and clarity so patterns can speak without pressure. Evenings hold an evening anointing that is kind to the body and faithful to the soul. Gratitude names what was given in ordinary form so the heart remembers sufficiency. Reconciliation loosens what pride tightened and lets mercy breathe where harshness once stood. A single choice is reviewed with tenderness until learning appears. A simple intention is named for the next day, so rest can gather it while the body restores. At the doorway of live decisions, the two-voice triage waits like a trusted friend. The first glance traces where this path tends to lead once time has passed. The second glance weighs what it will build or erode in the person you are becoming. The third glance imagines offering the same choice as counsel to someone you love and listens for the peace or the warning that rises. In this light, the louder invitation loses its spell, and the quieter one becomes clear. Through the days, A three-pillars plan turns insight into a home. Wisdom is honored in a weekly hour of unhurried reading and listening until one living principle is received. Understanding breathes that principle through a daily action small enough to repeat and real enough to notice. Knowledge gathers the story at week's end with a calm review that strengthens what gives life and releases what does not. Together, these pillars carry revelation from moment into habit and from habit into character. This way of living does not rush, yet it is not passive. It favors the small and the steady, because the small and the steady are how roots grow. The lamp continues to reveal. The gate continues to protect. The oil continues to flow. The two voices continue to be heard for what they are. The house continues to welcome presence. And the week, shaped by these gentle anchors, begins to hold a peace that lingers. There is a quiet moment after understanding settles, when the room inside feels newly arranged. The air seems cleaner, the windows seem wider. Nothing spectacular has happened, and yet everything feels different. You are not chasing a sign out there. You are recognizing a light in here. The lamp is steady, the gate is kept, the oil is fresh, the two voices are known by their fruit, the house has learned your name. This is the kind of change that does not demand applause because it carries its own peace. You have walked through desire and doubt without shaming either one. You have let the body speak in its simple language of breath and posture and felt sense. You have honored the mind's need for order without crushing the heart's need for mercy. You have allowed ancient wisdom to meet modern understanding and watched them become friends. No part of you was exiled. Every part was welcomed into clarity. This is what integrity feels like when it reaches the nervous system and the soul at the same time. It is not a theory, it is a temperature in the chest and a kindness behind the eyes. Some changes arrive with fire, others arrive like dawn. The dawn kind lasts. It spreads without drama and touches every corner of ordinary life. Words slow and mean what they say. Promises become lighter to keep because they are made from alignment rather than impulse. Work becomes service rather than a stage. Relationships become places where truth and tenderness stand side by side. The inner weather steadies. Storms still come, but they meet a landscape that drains well. Wisdom has a way of dignifying even the unfinished parts of a life. It does not deny pain. It gives pain a context that is not despair. It does not erase your story. It reveals the thread of meaning that runs through it. Where you once felt scattered, you feel gathered. Where you once felt thirsty, you taste sufficiency. Where you once begged for direction, you notice a tone of guidance that has been speaking all along, now finally audible because the room is quiet enough to hear. If you could stand above your days and look down, you would see a pattern forming. Small faithfulness repeated until it becomes natural. Small guardrails honored until they become freedom. Small reconciliations practiced until the heart no longer hoards its injuries like treasure. The genius of this way is its gentleness. It asks for what a human can actually give. It trusts that grace prefers slow roots to sudden fireworks. It trusts that truth does not need to shout to prevail. Let the simplicity of that trust be your rest. When you feel lost, you already know where to return. Trim the lamp by telling the truth. Keep the gate by choosing what serves sight. Replenish the oil by honoring rhythm and joy. Test the voices by the peace that lasts. Protect the house by giving wisdom real rooms to fill. None of this turns you into someone else. It turns you into someone whole. In this wholeness, the sacred feels at home. Not because you performed purity, but because you welcomed presence with honest rooms. Not because you earned revelation, but because you cleared space for it to stay. The mystery remains a mystery, yet it tastes familiar now, like bread shared at a quiet table. You do not cling to it with fear. You receive it with gratitude and let it become part of the way you walk. As this chapter closes, let a single question rest in the soft center of your attention, not as pressure, but as promise. Which single practice will you begin tonight to trim your inner lamp?